Hey guys, welcome back. This is the final episode with the lovely, the talented, and the very easy to talk to, Miss Denise Gossett. If you're not familiar and if you haven't seen the episodes prior to this, well, I will link them down below for you. But Denise is the owner and runner. Is that a fair CEO? You're everything.
Founder,
you are Shriekfest.
Founder.
She is Shriekfest.
Director.
She's the founder director of Shriekfest, but also Shriekfest Radio and a director. A director. I'm going to take that over. Are you a director?
I have directed.
Look at that! Oh my gosh! Yes, of course. Like I just assume you do everything. Because in my mind, I was like mother and wife, and like if there's something that can be done, you've done it.
I'm getting there. I'm kind of doing it all. It's a little scary. Kind of like you.
So stay tuned. It really is, and that's where like I feel it when filmmakers say, "But it's a full-time job. I can't." And I was like, "Yeah, but here's the thing: we're all doing this. We're all in the same industry. So
Right.
although it is a full-time job, if you don't do it, chances are somebody who's a competitor is."
Right, exactly. If you don't do it, the next person will, and that's who's going to be in their spotlight when they're picking their directors or whatever for whatever it may be.
For everything. And
Yep.
it's not that it should come, like, obviously, sometimes they'll get angry and be like, but talent is what matters. I'm like, of course. Talent absolutely matters. But you had 300 great short films for
Right.
38 spots. All 300 of those filmmakers are incredibly talented.
Exactly.
So at some point, there has to be many other factors
Right.
that thins that herd.
Right.
You know, what is going to be that divider between the 262 that don't get in and the 38 that do?
A friend of mine said she sat in on an audition, and all these guys were auditioning, and they asked her, "Who do you think?" And she said, "Well, he was by far the best actor." And they said, "Yes, but he has more followers." And they went with the followers.
Mm-hmm. Well, because also, like, as somebody who's done some casting as well, I don't disagree entirely, because for the most part, so long as, like, a lot of the time you can have an actor that's good but not great, but then a great actor. But like the difference, depending upon the role that you have between a good and a great actor, it depends on so many factors.
And you might
there's
be able to
also-
direct him to
You
be
could direct
better.
him to be better. You could possibly edit him to be better. A lot of actors, when they get opposite a person, they're better or worse. So an audition is kind of like only an indication of can somebody do the job well.
Right.
Right? It's not necessarily like, are you the most brilliant actor ever? Because there's also, I've known wonderful actors that do not do auditions well. They're incredibly talented. It's just the audition is a process that they're not comfortable with and they suck at it.
Mm-hmm.
Which also, love your advice, but I get on every audition. I always say that after 100 auditions, I like literally felt a different level of comfort in a building. So
Yes.
I always say, like, try to get over your 100. The sooner the better.
Yes.
And it sounds like a lot, but if you're hustling, it's really going to go by quickly. But there's just, like, at the 100 mark, almost like on the dot, there's just, like, I walked in and I was like, I am totally at ease now. I've done this.
Same
I
with
own this
self-taping.
space. Completely
People
agree.
think, well, I'm not going to self-tape. That is the future. That is current.
Yeah.
I mean, I have friends who are self-taping for commercials now.
Mhm.
It is all because they don't have to rent a studio. Yep. They can watch it in their pajamas, and then they can hold the callbacks at a office.
And they can also fast forward or delete if they
Yep.
don't like it. They don't have to deal with the awkward, but also like the number of horror stories I've had casting directors tell me about, like the actor that wouldn't leave, or like
Exactly, that doesn't happen anymore.
No, you don't have to worry about it. Self-taping is just the way of the future.
Yep.
And also now that we all have these little cameras on us at all times,
Right.
There's no reason why not to.
And it is a process, so practice.
Mm-hmm.
Because trust me, when I first started, I don't know, 7 years ago, like the lighting wasn't always great and this and that, and you work up, and now like I have it down to a science. I know what I'm doing, and I've learned, like, show them range.
Mm-hmm.
So many actors are given the same note. Show range.
Yep.
So they can see all that you are capable of.
Well, the other thing too, just going back to the actor that didn't get cast, even though they were a little bit better, I also find too, just because somebody's good on the day, acting is such a specific art form that is so, it's weird because it's like it requires the intelligence, it requires your emotional, it requires like every aspect of your being. And I've hired actors that were really great on the audition day and then showed up to set, and I don't know if their dog died, I don't know if they broke up with their girlfriend or whatnot, but they were a very different human being on
They
set.
just got lucky.
And it impacted everything about their performance.
Ooh.
So, like, you kind of just, go with your gut, but it's not always like the best actor. Because in my experience, the best actor in an audition room is not always the best actor on that set.
Maybe have callbacks just to verify that they are that good.
But like, you know what I find? It's really easy for actors to like be well behaved and on the top of their game for like 15 or 20 minutes.
Oh,
right?
And then they leave.
That's not hard. Yeah, because
they're really a jerk when
versus
they leave.
like when you have to have somebody on set for 12 hours a day for like 2.5 weeks. Well, sometimes it's real rough.
Well, that's why a lot of directors, they just want to sit and meet with you.
Yep.
Because they want to see, can I handle spending this much time with her, you know?
Or do I want to?
Right.
Awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about or share? You can promote anything you want.
Okay. I have a Netflix original movie coming out called Women. I'm not sure exactly when it comes out, but it's coming. I play a sheriff from a small town. I get to be really bad and carry a gun, and it was fun.
That's
and
awesome.
then I am shooting a Leonardo DiCaprio TV series when I get to Orlando here soon, called The Right Stuff. It's about the astronauts and all of that, when that all went down, about going to the moon and our race to the moon and all that. And if you have a dream and there's something you want, don't let anything stop you. Every day, do a little bit of something to get you closer to that goal. I know it can be intimidating and overwhelming if you're making your film or you're writing your script or acting or whatever it may be. Break that goal down into steps, and then break it down into baby steps. And I don't care if you do one tiny little baby step every day. By the end of that year, you're going to have that script. Or you're going to, be in pre-production or even production. It's all the little things that add up to the big thing. So don't look at it as huge. What's that saying? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So that's the same thing with any film or script or anything you may be working on.
It's really great advice. Now, also, before we go, the one thing I've neglected to mention, my apologies, was Shriekfest and you kind of really brought Mike Flanagan to the entire public's eye, which is really, really great. If you guys are a horror fan, I know that you know Mike Flanagan by name. Most recently, you probably saw his series on Netflix. You're probably really excited for Dr. Sleep. Before that, he did Oculus and
Absentia.
Absentia was the one that Shriekfest won, 2011?
I believe so.
It was the first Shriekfest I ever attended.
Oh, really? Yeah. Aww.
And I met him, and I had the same, like, you just knew. Mm-hmm. You were like, this man is brilliant, and this movie is great. And it's not a higher budget film, which is whenever people gush about his Netflix series and all that, I'm like, look at Absentia, look at, because I think it's nice to see the progression, and it's a nice reminder also that you don't have to have $1 million to make a film.
Right.
He didn't. He made that for a very low budget.
Did you didn't see Greenlight, right?
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah. Did you hear what that budget was?
Yeah.
They announced
I was very surprised that they announced it. I was like, oh.
I know. I'm like, what? Usually that's like, keep this secret.
Well, it's so beautifully shot. Mm-hmm. Like, align yourself with the right people. And if one of those people isn't Powell, the DP of Greenlight, then maybe he should be.
Right.
Because I don't know how you shot that for that amount of money.
I know. Amazing. A lot of favors, baby.
Yes. Well, we all live and die on favors. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, I always say it takes a village. They say it takes a village to raise a child. So I can only imagine.
A movie's a child.
Very much
baby, grown up.
The other big thing I wanted to ask about, so side note, we're not going to end quite yet. How do you manage to balance everything? Because you have your acting career, which is going phenomenally great. You run a super successful festival that screens not only in Los Angeles, but now also in Orlando. And you're a wife and mother.
I'm crazy. It is extremely hard. I don't get it. I don't really understand how I do it. Earlier this year, or actually it was last year when my daughter was in 5th grade, I was asked to help out with the show. And she had been trying to get me to come in and do some help on, they do like a little musical at the end of 5th grade. And so I go in and I sit down with her and she says, okay, well, we have the rights to Annie and Guys and Dolls. And I'm sitting there going, and she's like, what do you want to do? And I said, Harry Potter. And she goes, what? I go, I know it's not a musical. I know there's no script, but I'll write it. And she was like, what? So I took Christmas break, the 2 weeks in Christmas break, and I wrote a Harry Potter script incorporating all the books. And we held auditions. We had over 100 kids in the show. And it was phenomenal. They had to audition like real actors. We had 13 different teachers judging, and me and my co-director, and we produced this most amazing show. It was an hour and 10 minutes long. Phenomenal. It had songs. Everything was original. It was a beautiful thing. And that was earlier this year. So, and then I'm in PTA, and I do Girl Scouts, and we sell cookies, and all this stuff, and I don't know how I do it all. I have no clue.
So no advice on how to do any of that.
You know what it is? It's baby steps. Because there are mornings I wake up and I'm like, I can't. I just can't. I don't feel like doing any of this. And then I'll trick myself. I will look at my to-do list and I'll go, God, I just can't make that phone call. Or I just can't do whatever needs to be done that day. And I'll say, you know what? I'm going to do a portion of whatever is on that list. I'm going to do a tiny little portion. And once you start that little tiny step of that, you keep going. It's a way to trick your mind into, all I really have to do is this one tiny little thing, and that's it. And then I'm done for the day. But every time you do that one little thing, you'll go, you know what, I could do this little thing too. And you know what, while I'm doing this, I'll do this too. Before you know it, it's all done.
Yep.
It's just like you hate cleaning the kitchen. Just tell yourself, I'm just going to clean this one countertop. That's it. That's all I'm going to do, and then I'll be done. You won't. You will finish the whole kitchen and be done with it because you'll see something accomplished, and it will make you accomplish more. So just trick yourself. It's the way I get a lot done.
And really quickly, your podcast. What is it about, and where can people find out more information about that?
Shriekfest Radio, and it's every Thursday. I'll post the links. The links and stuff are on shriekfest.com almost every Thursday, except for when I need a break. But I interview the filmmakers and screenwriters that have been in the current festival. And it's so fascinating because some of them have never been on a show. And so I have to kind of pull things out of them. And then others are overly nervous. Talk too much. So, but it's a great way because I'm introducing them to what it will be like farther down the road as their career moves up. So it's a lot of fun, and there's lots of great tips on different filmmaking and screenwriting.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so very much for joining us. I really appreciate that.
I am honored.
I will link everything down below so that you can find out more information, not only about Denise herself and her filmmaking and acting journey, but also about the festival and about her podcast. And as always, don't forget to hit the like button down below and also subscribe. 10 billion bonus points if you want to join the Patreon, where you can get early access to episodes, signed swag, Google Hangouts, and more.
Woo!
I know. Stay bloody. Bye. Bye.